So this Chicago bonanza, I don't even know what to call it. It's craziness going on in Chicago from a political landscape stance. Now, there are two different things happening. There's the ICE stuff that is apparently underway today, and then there's the whole National Guard to clean up the streets of Chicago like they did in Washington, D.C. Now, specifically, I'm talking about the whole National Guard issue. We talked briefly last week that this is an experiment that Chicago's tried. It's worked, but the city leaders of Chicago said, this makes us look bad, so we're not going to ever do it again. Basically, what I'm getting at here is that so many libs have their panties in a wad going, I can't believe he might do this. I can't believe he might do this. Senator Tammy Duckworth went on one of the Sunday talk shows and said, President Trump essentially just declared war on a major city in his own nation. It was a CBS article that was reporting all of that. And they later on said, by the way, the president has no plans of ever putting National Guard in Chicago. So here's the question. Haley, I'll let you answer first. Is President Trump doing a massive head fake here? Because all that's actually happened is that the nation has their eyes fixed on Chicago, how bad the murder rate is, how unsafe the streets are, and maybe the public pressure gets so big that he never actually ends up having to do anything. Libs just freak out, like Brylan said last time, defending crime, that the normal people in the country go, oh, well, yeah, Chicago's crazy and we should do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just putting a spotlight on all of the Democrat policies that are failed policies. And the Democrats are freaking out because it just exposes how horrible they are at their jobs, right? I mean, we saw, unfortunately, Labor Day weekend was the deadliest holiday weekend in Chicago this summer. And just this past weekend, 19 people were shot, 7 unfortunately were killed. So by defying President Trump, they're just denying reality.
That seems to be the case. Libs fighting against reality is my favorite subgenre culture. Brylan, I thought this is pretty funny. In this same article, they talked about President Trump on Saturday. I'm using my scary voice. Truthed out a screenshot that read Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Later on in the article, they said on Sunday, Trump told reporters, yeah, we're not going to war. Kind of just ribbing them on and continuing to troll them in the comment section of the internet. What kind of move do you think this is? Do you think that there is a possibility that he actually sends the National Guard in, or is this, from what it seems like, entirely kind of this, hey, we're just going to focus the attention here and you guys figure it out?
Yeah, a few things there. First of all, in the incredible Department of War, with our now Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, I would say that it's really cool to see that America is now on offense instead of just defense. We're not just here to defend against attacks, we're here to actually go on offense as a nation. The first thing I said to the Trump campaign when I joined their youth operation was, hey, let's actually be a party going on offense instead of just defense. Now we're not only just a party, but a nation going on offense instead of defense. So that's a great thing. Specifically about Chicago, I'll tell you this. I had a reporter call me this morning, and they said, I wanted to get your comment on the, crisis going on in Chicago and how the president is responding to it. And I said, hold on, I have to stop you right there. Which crisis in Chicago are you referring to? Are you referring to the immigration crisis where Chicago is actually being flooded and people are like breaking into the nation and coming to Chicago first and they're actually committing crimes in the streets? Are you talking about the Chicagoans that are committing crimes in the streets? Because either way, people are being killed and the president is the one actually trying to save people. And they said, well, there's no crisis. The mayor said at his press conference, there's not a crisis. And I said, but there are so many crises. I didn't know which one you were calling me about. That's a problem there.
Yeah, mayors would never lie about the state of their city, especially when they're under the microscope. That would be a shock to me if that didn't turn out to be true.